Morning, mate.
Morning, Al. This kit's causing it a bit of a stir, isn't it? It's like the old Thunderbird slash, isn't it? With Paddy
Well,
Power written all over it. What's your take on it? Because on your Facebook, your official Facebook page, and your personal Facebook page, you put a couple of great posts up about it. So let's have your thoughts, Al.
I just apart from I don't think it's right for the fans. I think they don't want to see their team run around in shirts like that. Plus the fact I'm being a gambler, um, they get it all their own way. Bookmakers get it all their own way. They cheat the public, and now they're throwing this in their face. I mean, it's I put a quote on there about my mate had a bet the other day, and he had a bet on his card for £500, and they took his money straight away, and then the horse won, and he's got to wait 5 days to get it back. So they earn so much interest out of millions of punters all over, and that's what buys this fella Paddy Power his horses, and that's why they had the Paddy Power Gold Cup, and it's all our money, and it's cheating really. And they're just throwing it back in our face by wiping it across a football team shirt, which I think shouldn't be allowed, because it was only about 10 years ago when a couple of lads, I think we know a couple in particular, that were brought down and put in front of the spotlight for gambling too much. They were losing fortunes. The Newcastle winger, Gallagher, the kid or something.
Yeah.
He had to be put into a clinic for gambling, and because players started to earn so much money, they just didn't know what to do with it, and they would, and now all of a sudden, the FA are allowing them to, bring it in such a loud fashion into our game. I mean, there's one thing maybe sticking your name up to promote a certain match or something. I still don't agree with that, but to have a football team run around with that splashed across them, as you said, it's like seeing the redcoats come out at Butlins, and it's with someone said to me yesterday, it's like watching a girls' beauty contest, and they come out with them sashes on, with all over things slashed right across the front of them. It's just absolutely ludicrous, Paul, I think.
Yeah, I think it looks absolutely pathetic. I thought when
Yeah,
it come out that it was a cheap publicity stunt. Now,
yeah.
a publicity stunt years ago was by Derek Dougan with Kettering Tyres and the same FA. I know they're different people, but they threw it out because that was the original shirt sponsorship that Dougan bought in, and they got banned, I believe, didn't they, Kettering? I mean, they should get banned, sign, die for what they've done now, because it does look absolutely pathetic. But they're not the only ones that have got betting companies embezzled all
No,
across their shirts, and I think it's wrong, because I think that if you've got cigarettes, you've got alcohol, well, betting, I think you've got to put that in the same envelope as all those. And my daughter, I've said this before, I like to go and have the occasional bet. If I'm going on a Saturday to a bookie shop, she has to stand outside. On a Sunday, when we're watching the game, there's the two football teams with betting advertisements on the shirts, and she can sit and watch that in the front room. That's got to be wrong.
yes, no, it's just encouraging people to
Yeah.
go out and for kids and everything. It shouldn't be allowed, mate. It should be against all the rules. Again, it's the FA. I blame the FA. I don't know who's taking a bung at the FA or whatever, but it's just unthinkable. You wouldn't want your kids to go to football and watch a team running around with betting companies on it, or drink companies, or cigarette companies.
Mm.
It's not, even on cigarettes, they say cigarettes kill you. Well, why don't they put that on football shirts? You know, it's it's just gone too far. And where do we, with all the money in the game today, do we
Exactly.
actually need that? There it's I just read Harry's book, and I've just read the Peter Crouch book, and they talk about all the money in the game, how crazy it's gone, and they're just untold money, and now we're really scraping the bottom of the barrel here with these people. I mean, we shouldn't get into that horse racing. I mean, I love my horse racing. I really do. I love it. I watch it all the time, and I love it. And I ain't I'm not one of those. I'm not the Stan Bowles of the football gambling world, but it should be left to people that love horses and greyhounds or whatever. We'd have a football bet, but basically they are the opposition.
Mm. Yeah.
They are people that we don't want to see on football shirts because they remind us of how much money we've lost. It's people to watch that. I mean, I really would turn the telly off if I see Huddersfield on telly because it would make me want to throw up. You don't really want to see that. I want to watch a game of football. I mean, this new thing. You've seen the new advert of the new book I've got coming out, Paul. Yeah, that John Heller has done, and it's a brilliant. The first advertised poster is a brilliant photo in a Chelsea shirt, and it's just me with a Chelsea shirt, and it's got a Chelsea badge on. Yep. There's no sponsorship. There's nothing on it, and there wasn't in them days. And if I was playing today and I was earning what they're getting today, 200 grand a week or £1 million a month or whatever they get, they're probably, are they getting players getting something out of this? I don't know. I mean, because if it was me, and even if I was skint, I wouldn't accept the money. I wouldn't, because it's not on. It's not on. It's not on for the future of the kids. It brings a bad taste to your mouth.
I think you're right, especially with the money, that the amount of money that's in the game. We keep being told that gate receipts don't make any difference really to the running of the football club today. That's what we keep getting from football clubs. As a fan, you're not as important as what you used to be in the 70s because of everything else. Well, when you're in that Premier League, I think even if you finish bottom, you get 100 million. So I think you're absolutely right. There's no need for shirt sponsorship in the Premier League, and there's certainly no need to have that kind of shirt sponsorship in the Premier League, surely with the amount of money. And also, if you was playing against them, Alan, as a player, and you're looking at that shirt, how off-putting would that be? Would it be to the opposition? It would be, wouldn't it? Seriously.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Is that if I was playing and I was a gambler, the first thing I would say to someone on my side who could take a lump out of them is take a lump out of them, because we're playing against Paddy Power today. We're not playing against Huddersfield. I mean, Christ Almighty. And if I was asked to, if I was playing for, like, if I was back at Chelsea or Stoke or Arsenal, and they laid the shirt out or hung the shirt over your peg with that on it, I would say I refuse to play. Yeah. I'm not playing in that. This is football. It's not a game of gambling. It's not a game of drinking. It's not a game of smoking. This is football, and we just moved further and further away from the whole game. And it's money's one thing, but this is just pushing the boat out a little bit too far.
Yeah. So where do you think the FA will stand? Do you think there will be a ban on that kind of shirt advertisement?
Well, again, Paul, it's we have over the last 6 months or whatever, we've been going off. I don't understand politics. We've been going through all this Brexit thing. Yeah. What's going on with politicians? What do they do? What do they actually do good for our country and everything else? There's not one politician has stood up and mentioned anything about that. That is their job to sort this out. They should be saying this shouldn't be allowed in our country. Yeah. They've let so many things go in this country. They spoil our country. It's not our country anymore. It's absolutely ridiculous. And now they're allowing this to happen, and it shouldn't happen. This is a politician's job. They should set this all out and say, they should say to the FA, how much are you earning out of this? What are you getting out of it? Why are you allowing it? What's going on? I mean, what is going to be the next stop? That's what would worry me. Where are they going to go with this? Where are the bookmakers going to go with this? Will it be on the shorts, on the socks? Will it be on the ball, on the goal posts? It's just making a mockery of what really the Premier League is. Just open a can of worms now for sponsorship. And this thing I put on yesterday, I was through my son in Colorado Rapids, reading about this Stan Kroenke. They want him out at Arsenal, and how he's running the Arsenal Football Club. And I went to see Colorado Rapids last year when Anthony was there, and I was just appalled at the what he had, the surroundings he had to work in, where the ground was out in the outback and all that, and yet this fella owns half of America.
Yeah.
So he doesn't care about football. He's not interested one iota about the soccer fan in America. That the Americans love their sport. They want soccer to become as big as it is over here. But in places like Colorado, I mean, they really are. They're trying their hardest, these supporters, to get into the swing of things, because it's hard for them after, when you're new to such a game. And he stuck them right out where, as I put him in this new book I'm writing, I felt like when I went to the game, I felt like John Dunbar in Dancing with Wolves. It's like he was going out into the unknown. I thought, where are we going here? Then all of a sudden there's this little stadium right out the way, and I said to my son when I got there, I said, Anthony, this ain't going to work, mate. People ain't going to go work all day and then come out here for 7:30 kickoff. They want to go downtown. They want to go into the swing of things. And American sport is something much different from England. They treat every match as a party. They go out and they have the tailback parties. They open the back of their boot and the back of their vans or whatever, and they got drink and food and all that. They make a party of it. Well, this place there, it's just, you wouldn't find it. You got to find a map to find a football ground, and it's just. And this fella has got more money than you could spend in 100 lifetimes. He owns. Well, you only got to look him up. I looked him up yesterday, and what he doesn't own, this fella, and yet he owns Arsenal Football Club. And with all that money, they've been grovelling Arsenal. For the last, because they haven't been allowed to buy players because of the Emirates. They built the Emirates when this fella could afford to buy the Emirates on his own. He don't need Emirates written all over it. He could have Kroenke written all over it. So, the people that are earning money, if he was in charge of Arsenal and he put Paddy Power on the front of it, would just about seem right, because, they're just one greedy person to another. I mean, how much money do these people want? And they're just taking it all away from sport. It's not sport no more. It's just, how can we earn a few quid out of it? And it's, I think Paddy Power should be ashamed of himself, mate.
I think you're right. I mean, it is the league. It's the league of greed, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, all right, it's enough that we see it on horse racing, and as I said, it's. I made a point. My mate went in a betting shop the other day and had the bet, and he gave him his card. They took the £500 straight off his card, straight out of his account. That second, it was out the moment he clicked, like you going into a supermarket.
Yep.
And the horse won, and he went back in. They said, you can get you'll be back in your account in 5 working days. He said, well, why is that? You took my money immediately. I should get it straight back. Well, they earn the interest on that. Yep. So for the millions of people that had that same horse and all over the country, millions and millions of pounds, that sits in their bank account for 5 days. Yep. And they earn interest. So basically, they're not paying you. The interest on that money they're earning out of the banks is paying you. Paddy Power is not paying you that money. So they're cheating all over the board. And when you see on the Saturday afternoon, they say on the racing channel, oh, thanks to Paddy Power for sponsoring the Gold Cup. Well, he's not sponsoring the Gold Cup. We are, us punters. And, they've got it all over. They've got it all over the board. It's just cheating the public all the way over, Paul.
It's time for change. I can't ever see it happening now. I think the only thing that will change it is if fans united against these owners, against the sponsorship, and had a national strike day where the first day of the season, with all the TV cameras, everything, the Super Sunday, the Premier League's kicking off, and every fan says, you know what, we've had enough. Until you give us our simple game back, we are not going into any football ground in this country. And I think only then we may get our game back, or a little bit more respect.
I agree. I've always said that, mate, because I said to certain people who support football clubs, just boycott them.
Yeah.
Don't go on a Saturday. That's the only answer to it. And they said, well, what about all the people that have bought season tickets? Well, sometimes, You got to say, well, don't buy a season ticket. Don't you got to boycott these people, because that, you know, once they got your money, they can dish you up anything they want. It doesn't matter, and it's priced all the football people out of the game. All the real people in Chelsea that support Chelsea can't afford to go there.
Yeah.
And it's they're the people that used to support us in the 70s and used to love it. And now I hear them in the pub on a Sunday, and I said, "You go to the game?" Yes, you know, they can't afford it. But yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I think you somewhere along the line you have to draw a line, and it's I think that time's come, and I think that this could be a good thing, really, what Paddy Power's done to get people to wake up and say, look, you've just gone too far here, because I mean, God, what must they think in Huddersfield? Poor Huddersfield, they get relegated last year, and now all of a sudden that they got someone to come along. Oh, we got this team, Huddersfield Town. I mean, what they got to do with Huddersfield Town anyway? You know, they're not Galway or any club in Ireland. What is Huddersfield Town? They just picked a team that got relegated, who know they need a few quid, and they think, oh, we'll splash our names all over them, and they know they're going to get that kind of publicity. Yeah. It's as you say. When I first see it, I thought it was a publicity stunt, and I got it up on. I was looking for my football, as I do every day, for my book, and I see this, and I walked into my local, and I said, "Have you seen that?" to the lads, and they went, "No," and they thought I was exaggerating. And when they got it up on his phone, and they went, "Oh, they're a couple of Fulham supporters," he said, "If this is Fulham, I wouldn't go." Yeah. So what must Huddersfield supporters be thinking? You know, they got to go, and it's just rubbing people's noses in it, really. I remember when Stoke got promoted the first year I was up there, and I was with Tony Pulis actually after the game, and I was I was delighted for Tony. I know Tony, and on the Stoke fans were just incredibly. They just couldn't believe that they were back in the big time. And on the first game of the season, they played Bolton at Bolton, and they got beat 3-1. And I'll never forget the game. Sam Allardyce was in charge of Bolton, and Paddy Power paid everyone out in Stoke who backed Stoke to get relegated after one game of the season as a publicity stunt. So what happened is the Stoke fans from that day refused to go into Paddy Power betting shops. Yeah. All of them used William Hill and Ladbrokes and Corals, and they refused to go in Paddy Power. So he might have got all that publicity, but he upset a lot of people. It was like the Sun with the Hillsborough years ago. They didn't buy a Sun for so many years or whatever. They just boycotted, and that's the only way out, mate. That's the only way to do it. Whoever is his PR man should be put up against the wall and shot, really. I mean, let's be fair. I mean, it's just not on, Paul. It's and for someone to do it and say, look, how about this for an idea? If that was me, I'd be so embarrassed. Yeah. How can you think of such a thing? I mean, it's obviously it's somebody that doesn't care 2 iotas about football, hasn't got a clue about the game. People love our game. They live for game. Without football, this country would be totally lost. We're lost in the summer without it. Thank God we had the cricket and the tennis the other day, which was just a total one-off thing. I loved every minute of the tennis and the cricket. I love me cricket. But we're a nation that's lost in the summer because that's why so many people want to go on holiday half the time, because there's no football. Because we love this football. Football is our life in England, and now we got someone in Ireland coming up with this idea, and they're just making a mockery of a game that we love. It shouldn't be allowed. But I go back to the politicians, mate. If anyone really. I mean, they could have made such the fella that's running against Boris could have won himself a right few votes if he come up with something like this, and because it made the country sit up and say, well, somebody does care with what's going on with something that we love, and they've missed the boat again. They've let it go over their heads because they're too wrapped up in what they're up to, And do they care? But does Boris Johnson care about football? I don't think so. Does he care about sponsorship on shirts? No, because he doesn't go to football and he doesn't support a team and he doesn't care about what's on the front of their shirts. You might as well put next it'd be porn. Why not? Why not? If you're going to let this go, if you're going to let it go, who knows where it's going to stop? I cancelled my Sky TV about 3 years ago because they took my racing channel off, and I got in touch with them and I said, well, I cancelled one of my kiddies. I cancelled the kiddies. I said, I've got no kids. Why should I pay for this package? And they went, well, we took it off. I said, well, you've taken it off, but you've took my racing channel off as well. She said, well, that comes under the kiddies program. I went, are you telling me that you've got a racing channel you're encouraging kids to gamble? You'll have porn on there next. Are you going to encourage them? He said, well, you're pushing it too far. I said, well, why have you got a racing channel on your kiddies program? I don't want my kids to follow me. I don't want my kids to be a gambler. I don't want my grandchild to be a gambler. I mean, because the odds are against you all the time. Yeah. It's all right doing the lottery, £1 a week is okay, but no, not doing your wages. And it as I say, going back to players, a few players who were earning even big money were, I know I love Paul Merton. I know he got in a lot of trouble gambling. I mean, good job. He's got a really good job and he deserves it on Sky. I'm a great fan of his, but I know he got in a lot of trouble. And you do, because footballers, people forget what footballers, especially when I played, they finished training at 12 o'clock, 12:30. Well, there's only two places to go, wouldn't it? They're not going to go to the cinema. Yeah. Half a dozen lads come out of the training ground. They go to the pub, and while they're in the pub, they go to the betting shop. That's all they got to do. There's nothing else to do. So it's a very expensive pastime.
It certainly is, and it ain't going to get any better unless we boycott it. So.
No, I agree. You've hit it on the head, mate. And I've been saying it for quite a while. Somebody's got to make a stand, and if it's Huddersfield, I mean, at the end of the day, with all greatest respect to Huddersfield, it might do them a favour not to see football for a few weeks up there, But no, it's just wrong, mate. It's totally wrong. It's I'd just feel cheated if I spent all my hard-earned money. These fellas that support football clubs and they travel all around the world and they support England, and they get cheated all the time. And they went. I see two geezers crying one night in South Africa when we went over there because they were told they listened to television and all these pundits too much that when we get through the group, we're going to somewhere, and they didn't get through the group or something, or they were second in the group and they had to go somewhere else and it cost them a few more grand. Well, who's going to pay that? They only took enough money to last them, and they were sitting on an ITV interviewed them, and these two fellas were they were lost. They said, we just can't afford to go on to the next game, and they were in South Africa. Yeah. So nobody cares once they've handed over their money. That's it.
Yeah. Right then, Al, on that note, we will reconvene on Monday night. You okay Monday night for part 4 of My Life?
I am, mate. I am.
Brilliant.
Yeah, I'll be fit. All right, pal.
Okay, have a great week, and
thanks,
weekend.
Mate.
We'll see you soon. Cheers, Alan.
And what shirt? What shirt you put on today?
What kind of shirt have I've got a Bobby Moore shirt on. I'm working away with my Bobby Moore shirt on.
Yeah. Oh, that's all right. As long as there's no logos on the front of it.
No, just Bobby and holding the World Cup up, Al. I might do a selfie in a bit just to prove it.
All right, mate.
Cheers, Mucker. Catch you later. Bye-bye.
Bye.